Aloha, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition today with Susan, a dear friend of mine. And we met in Costa Rica, right?
Yes, we did last year in 2023.
So when I saw you show up in Costa Rica, I was like, why is she one of the participants? Because the Reverse TV show is helping people reverse type 2 diabetes. And there was experts such as myself, and then there was participants such as Susan. And I'm like, why is Susan here? She's so little. You were thin. But tell us why you wanted to be on the show.
You see, on September 29, 2021, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And by the way, Maria, thank you so much for having me on your channel here today. It's a real pleasure. So, like I said, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes just out of the blue. This was a shock because, as you've seen me, I'm pretty small. I did not fit the stereotype or the character that usually have type 2 diabetes. So anyway, the short of it is I asked my doctor if I could try to go the natural route and not take medication. And he agreed to that. He gave me 3 months. And so I exercised, I changed my eating, and I prayed a lot. And in a few days, actually, 32 days to be exact, my fasting blood sugar was normal in the fives. I was diagnosed at 13.2% A1C.
Wow.
And so after
13.
days,
Wow.
Pardon?
You didn't have a stroke or anything?
No, but it could have been pending. So, in 7 months, my diabetes had gone.
What's your age now?
Yes, just with the diet I was observing, the lifestyle changes I made, and the attention I paid to my mental health, my soul health, I called it. And I was doing also my television show on Access Now that I do in my community here in Saskatchewan. And I was going to do a cooking show to show people some of the things that I ate. And I was Googling for the name of the show, for the title rather, that I wanted to give my show. And as I Googled that name, Reversed came up. And I looked at it and said, oh, they're dealing with diabetes. And I have overcome diabetes and I am passionate about the subject. And I dialed a number, Charles Maddox, whom we both know. He answered, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. What's your A1C now?
5.7.
Nice. So can you tell us maybe a little bit what your diet was before, when it was like at 13 versus what you eat now? Because I think that's like what people want to know, because they want to lower their A1C too.
Yes. So I thought I was eating pretty healthy. I was eating the traditional fruits and vegetables that I was told was healthy. I was eating a little bit of rice and breads and everything in moderation, as was told to me that a balanced diet is what our human body needs. And so I thought I was pretty okay. I did have a tendency for sweets, but it wasn't necessarily anything that was overdone.
Mhm.
So I was just a typical person doing what the food pyramid in Canada tell us to do. What portion sizes to eat, what your plate should look like.
So you weren't doing a lot of fast food or anything?
Some fast food, yeah.
And then what do you eat now?
What do I eat now? Primarily high protein, very, very low carb.
Yeah.
So eggs and cheese and burger patties, chicken, beef, cheese.
Yep.
Just the proper human diet that I was taught in Costa Rica by all of you experts that our ancestors ate and what shaped our genetics.
Hey everyone, we are on a little safari here in Africa, and I got a little friend right behind me here, eating some grass and some trees. he's not a carnivore, but if you are, it's great to keep your electrolytes up, and especially when you travel, if you keep your electrolytes up, it really helps. I actually personally find I don't go number 2 as often if I don't bring my electrolytes on along when I travel. I'll go 2-3 days without. But Element is great for travel. It's easy to pack. We really like it. And if you go to drinkelement.com, oh, watch out, slash Keto Maria, you can get a free sample pack with order. So check it out, drinkelement.com/Keto Maria, and get a free sample pack with any order.
Well, something that came up on the show was personal fat threshold. I don't know if you remember this episode. But your personal fat threshold is much smaller than someone who is that typical type 2 diabetes, because you don't have a lot of fat cells, but the ones that you have, they were stuffed. And so you had to shrink them and gain muscle in order to reverse that type 2 diabetes. I just want to make sure that that's clear that, you know, I remember I had a client, she was 34 and she was 105 pounds, beautiful. She looked super healthy and she was having strokes because her type 2 diabetes was so bad. And you know what she told me? She said, Maria, I wish I would gain weight when I cheated because we are a vain society. And the fact that she didn't, she looked beautiful on the outside, but she was so inflamed on the inside. And she had her first child and she's like, I need to live for her. And so that's why she wanted to reverse that. So I just want people to know, like, gaining weight is actually a protective mechanism.
I see. Yes, I was also thin on the outside, but I was fat on the inside.
Yeah.
As you expressed it so nicely,
Thank you.
my fat cells were overstuffed on the inside.
But I mean, I was so grateful to meet you because you and your husband, Tim, just like touched my heart in many ways. And I'll tell you more when I get to see you, hopefully on your birthday, in person. But
Yes,
you just,
looking forward for that.
just how you saw that I was in pain and you just hugged me and you prayed with me. But anyway, the reason I wanted to have you on is because you are trying to help transform lives of children and what they're eating. Why don't you tell us more? Because you have this wonderful book that just came out. Why don't you tell us more about that and where this idea came from?
Yes, actually, today, September 3rd, Tuesday, is the release date for my book, What Will Timmy Eat? And this was inspired while I was in Costa Rica. All of the experts poured into my life. And I've been an author for a number of years. I have about 20 books to my name. And I had taken a few of
I
my
have
books.
a few.
Pardon?
I have a few.
Yes, you do. So this is one that I took to Costa Rica, Little Copper Pennies, then Alphabet on the Farm, and then the Little Copper Pennies for the older kids and adults. And Dr. Ken Berry, I gave him one of the books. He browsed them and he was very impressed with it. And he said to me, why don't you write a book on what should kids eat for breakfast, following the carnivore lifestyle, the high protein, proper human diet that we were taught in Costa Rica? Because I hadn't heard about the carnivore diet prior to that. And, you know, that resonated with me. And the day we flew back, Tim and I were driving home from the airport and we stopped in at a restaurant in Regina to get some chicken. And right then and there in that restaurant, I opened my iPhone notes and I just started to type what was coming to my mind about this book. And today, you know, a year and 9 months later, 8 months later, the book is out here.
It is such a special book. How did you come up with the title?
Well, my husband's name is Tim, and he was so instrumental in all of my writing, so encouraging. And he was also there supporting me in Costa Rica. He went along as my support there. So I just thought it would be a good tribute to put his name in
He is the kindest man I've ever
Yeah.
met. I think he came up to me as a joke and said, like, go Vikings or something, because he knows that we love the Packers. And then I found out you guys love the Packers too.
Yes, the Green Bay Packers. Yes. Well, on Sundays, it's like there's Maria's team.
Yep, yep. What age group is your book primarily for?
I would say elementary school, ages 4 through 8. But I want to encourage parents to read to their children and to read with them. A child could be 2 years old and listen to the story. A child could be 4 years old and is not able to read themselves. They may be 8 or 10 years old and then be able to read. So it's that kind of partnership where the parents or the older person introduces the child to the book and just get the ball rolling for what's happening in here.
It's so important because we homeschool. I don't know if you know, but we homeschool our boys.
Yes.
And I remember when food started to come into some of their homeschooling projects and the books that we would get them. And that needs to be on the homeschool project because they were saying how, don't eat meat and eat a lot of, fruits and vegetables and cereal. Like they had to pick which was the healthier option for breakfast, whether bacon and eggs, cereal, or it was just other random things. And like cereal was the smart one. I was like, what? I remember being kind of upset and I was like, we don't need to talk about food here because they obviously don't know anything.
Yes, cereal is so sugar laden. I was never a lover of cereal. So I found that for me personally, just living the way I'm living now, just eating just a few select foods, and I don't get fed up of them. I think the motivation of knowing that I am in good health and that my better days of health are ahead of me, that is such a huge inspirational factor in keeping me grounded in this lifestyle and bringing in others so that they too can experience health and wholeness for the rest of their days.
Well, what other experiences have you had while you changed your diet? Not just, the A1C went down, your type 2 diabetes is gone. Is there anything else that you were surprised to know that, wow, I feel so much better. I didn't even know I was feeling bad.
Absolutely. My eyesight. So I wear reading glasses. I still do, but I can read without it. But I remember while shortly after the diagnosis, and I did not know what diabetes did. I did not know what it did to your vision. But all of a sudden, I couldn't watch a television. It was so blurry. And the day before, I was able to watch it well. And I found that this blurriness, this ability to see and then not see, this ability to be normal and then not be normal, it was very concerning. I kept going to the optometrist and getting different prescriptions and having them to change these 3 times because we thought the problem was the glasses. And so that was one of the things I realized, the diabetic eyes, what happened when sugar clouds your vision. The other thing, which in retrospect I now see, is what I call the diabetic brain. Because I could have seen some poor judgment on my part, some impulsive actions, which seem very, very normal and okay. But now that my brain is clear, I have no sugar arise affecting it and clouding my judgment and filling up my blood vessels and making me tired and making me slouchy and irritable. Those things are gone. And those have been very, very enlightening to me as I look back and paying attention to my soul, feeding my mind on what is healthy and wholesome and good. As you know, I believe in the Bible, and the scripture tells us to think on the things that are beautiful and praiseworthy and virtuous. And so my reading, my writing, my just thought life has been transformed. So those are just a few of the things that in retrospect I was able to do a comparison and see where I had fallen short because of diabetes. Dr. Ken told me that it would have been in my body for at least 10 years to get to that level. And because I functioned normally, always a very high functioning person,
Mhm.
I now think if I didn't have this latent diabetes, what else could I have done? Because I thought I did pretty good with diabetes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are just some of the aspects that really were very eye opening to me.
But I think parents just hearing this, they will want to read this to their children, and they themselves can experience the different emotions that their children have on sugar versus off sugar. Because I got to tell you, like my kids, they are just a bundle of joy, and yeah, they have some like down days, but not like when I see these emotional children that are like throwing tantrums and stuff. That's just not something that we experience, and I think that as a parent, I want to tell more people about that because parenting doesn't have to be that stressful.
Yes, absolutely. I could also see the undulations. I could see the good days and the bad days. I could see how very quickly I could go from feeling very hopeful and optimistic to just feeling very pessimistic and discouraged. And that was all part of the rise of the sugar, especially after eating and what a person ate and the lack of movement. Because when you're tired, you don't want to go on the treadmill, you don't want to go out in these pretty fields I'm looking at to
No.
walk. When you
Mhm.
get tired, you just lie down more.
Right.
And so it's exacerbated. Maria, it's a vicious cycle.
Mhm.
And I think the most discouraging thing is to hear a doctor, a specialist tell you this is chronic and you have to live like this for the rest of your life. And I want to shout from the mountaintops to anyone who will hear me that you do not have to live with type 2 diabetes. You could turn it around. It may take some time. You may be temporarily on medication until you are weaned off, but that mindset is enough to cripple a person, because I know how crippling it felt to me, but there was something that rose in me. It was my inner gumption. It was that drive that has brought me successfully, even though I was out so many times. And that rose up in me and said, you can do it. And I think people don't realize just how much life they have on the inside and what change they can do if they know that they could reverse type 2 diabetes.
Just think of all the people, the little humans, their lives that you're changing with that book. What was your
Yes,
favorite part?
absolutely.
What was your
Because
favorite part about the process?
Yeah, because if they from small begin to eat properly, they don't have to embrace diabetes. It doesn't have to come on them. It came on me because I wasn't eating properly. Began to eat properly, do the right things, and it's gone.
Yep.
So, pardon, what was your question again?
What was your favorite part about writing the book?
The favorite part was just I love rhyming. And so even though I started off to do a little bit of prose, but I felt I was drawn to the rhythmic scheme. And, so I enjoyed that part of it. I enjoyed putting it
Your-
together. The foods come alive, the foods that Timmy begins to eat, they
Yeah,
come alive and they assume characters,
that's
and
so true.
they have a um, race to see who will win. Whoever wins, Timmy will eat them, because every food wanted Timmy to eat them. So just the creative aspect, just bringing this to life in a way. Who doesn't like magic, right? Even though it's in fiction form.
Right.
So that element of magic really appeals to children and brings the story home.
Well, I don't want to tell everybody what Timmy eats. I want them to get the book and find out what Timmy eats. So, where can people find it? Because it's available today.
Yes, it is available at their favorite bookstore. So let me start with Amazon. It can be ordered from Amazon worldwide, internationally, in English. So if they go in their country to Amazon and they put in the name "What Will Timmy Eat" by Susan Harris, it will come up. It's available in Canada as well, and in brick and mortar stores. So in Canada, our largest chain is Indigo Books and Music. In the USA, it is Barnes and Noble. So the most important thing is when going to those chains, they've got to know the ISBN number. So I'm putting it up here because sometimes the bookstores may not have enough room to stock every single book that is in there. But a query in the database will produce the name of the book, the title, the author, and there we have the ISBN for the paperback, which is 978-173-89727-08. So, I think
I'll put it in the bottom.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's where they can get it.
Awesome. And then once you read one of Susan's book, you're going to want to get more of them because they're just, I could feel your heart coming through there. And you're just one of the most kind people. You and Tim, I just adore so much. So we'll leave the information below on where you can find the books, the Amazon link, the Canada Amazon link, because I know you're in Saskatchewan. And I can't thank you enough for your time today.
I thank you, Maria. Thank you very much. I believe our friendship was meant to be when we hit it off there in Costa Rica.
I talked to you the most out there.
I've been a teacher for a number of years. So putting together these books, educating, just gives me great joy.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you for spending a little bit of time with us today. And mahalo, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.
When I was 16 years old, I was diagnosed with PCOS, acid reflux, depression, and IBS. Instead of taking those prescription drugs, I decided to change my life with food. Yes, food healed me, and it's healed so many of my clients over the past 20 years of working with people. If you are interested in transforming your life, check out KetoMaria.com. I'd be honored to help you.